Most of the world knows Wynton Marsalis as a composer extraordinaire and one of the great trumpet players of his generation. What most don't know is that Marsalis is a basketball connoisseur as well.
I've been warming up. You're on defense right here. When to take off, 1 point, this is the first.
Wynton took time out from his hectic schedule as artistic director of jazz at Lincoln Center to talk about the similarities between life on the bandstand and life on the hard court. What's the connection between the hard court and the bandstand?
I think that first is just virtuosity on a form. Like we all know what the form of basketball is, dribbling, shooting. We know the rules of the game. When you're playing, there's a lot of similarities. We have a form, like a blues has 12 bars. And we know the typical songs, and we try to do variations on them.
In basketball, you have rules that make the game hard. Like you got to dribble.
Right.
And in jazz, you got changes.
Right, and you have to swing.
Yeah. Air ball. That's how I was even on your court.
I got to warm up.
No, there ain't no warm up. What's the greatest distance in terms of evolution from Louis Armstrong to, let's say, to Wynton Marsalis, or from Bob Cousy to Kobe Bryant? What's the greatest distance in terms of the evolution of the final form?
Well, I would think that it would be in basketball or in sports, because the arts deal with the human soul, and a person can arrive at any time in any art form and be the most advanced. Like, no one has taken the art further than Homer was, or Shakespeare, or Louis Armstrong. Nobody's going to play better than him. It's not possible. You can come with your variation. You play different things. Like Dizzy Gillespie played faster. Miles Davis played on different types of harmonic environments or different type of rhythmic environment. But great art doesn't become old.
I get to warm up.
You don't warm up. How many shots?
The spiritual dimension in athletics is different. Like, there are people who have a spiritual inheritance. Like, a shot will go in for them. The ball comes to them, and they can beat the people of their era. Musicians, artists speak across epochs. It's not, Louis Armstrong wasn't trying to beat anybody. Like, he just was sharing the gift that was given him with the world.
See, I played the inner city.
Look, you thought you was gonna just bump me? I saw it.
Basketball is jazz, but most of the guys who are playing it now are of a hip-hop generation. But yet, they seem to be playing a game that is still uniquely jazz. I mean, I know it.
Right. That's most things in American life that are improvised and virtuosic will be like jazz, because jazz is our definitive art form.
You missed. That's game now.
Let's talk about improvisation, because we talk about that a lot. I'm sure, you know, Cousy, but nobody improvised like Earl Monroe.
Right.
I mean, that was a completely different thing.
And it's like, if I take my trumpet and I start to play something, you see, I can play my horn. I'm gonna give you an example. If I want to make up something on my horn and I just start ruminating on something like okay, I can go on and on. Now, that's just improvisation. But once I put a rhythm to it, and I start having to keep my improvisation in the context of that ground rhythm, then I have another set of difficulties. So I have to. I can play around with that ground rhythm, and in jazz, the group improvises.
Right. Who knows what's going to happen once you bring in drummer, once you bring in bass, once you bring in.
But that's why the most successful improvisation happens, like the most successful ball, when every person really knows the function of those plays from their perspective. We've seen great ball players, but I don't think we've ever seen individual brilliance in every position. Then that would be an unbeatable team. Okay, that's like the John Coltrane Quartet, or that's like the Miles Davis Quintet in the 1960s. That's it. That's it. You got it on.
Wait, did you get that on
You got it on the camera.